everyone listening and tuned in. Today, we have another very, very special guest. As a matter of fact, this young lady is multi-talented. She's been making her way on the scene for quite some time now, and we can expect to see a lot more of her in the future. So, without any further ado, world, I would like to introduce to you actress Jessica Velle. How you doing today, Jessica?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing full, as a matter of fact. Just kind of, taking it easy. Bringing, I bought in the new year pretty decently, so everything's all right. How was your new year?
It was great. It was really, really good. I'm really excited to start, 2015. 2014 was really fun and crazy for me, but I'm transitioning into some new projects, so I'm really excited about the upcoming year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was noticing you had some different things, but before we get into that, let me ask you first. When did you know? When did you know that the time was right for you to just, start your career out in the industry? Because as a matter of fact, you took acting classes before, right?
Yes, I did. I actually started out acting when I was a child. When I was about 3 or 4 years old, I was doing commercials and doing a lot of modeling as a kid. And I kind of took a break in my teens. I took a lot of classes growing up, but in my teens I kind of wanted to, explore being in high school and having fun with my friends. And so I kind of took a break for a little while. And about, 2, 3 years ago, I got back into it, and I decided to kind of go full force with my passion and just kind of really juggle as many projects as possible because I had so much that I wanted to do, and I was really excited about everything that was in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to take full opportunity.
Right. Now, as a, like you said, as a kid, just, like a lot of, I know some people, just growing up, you watch television and you see different things on TV and you're watching, you're saying, hey, I want that to be me one day. Is that the angle that you came from at first, or did you just naturally have something about you that people would notice from a child who said, hey, you know what, you would be great at this growing up?
Yeah, you know what, I was definitely, I think even still now when I was a kid, and I think my first movie that I was really, obsessed with was The Little Mermaid, and everybody who kind of knew me as a kid, kind of put me in that category. Every time they saw me, they were like, oh, she's going to sing The Little Mermaid. I even had, my aunt taking care of me, taking me to school with her to pick up homework, and I would give a show to everybody. And I was about, I was really small, but, I was always telling people if I could sing for them, if I could act for them. And, even as a kid, people would always tell me, like, you don't ever get embarrassed, if somebody throws tomatoes at you. And the memory I have is of me saying, well, I eat them if they threw them at me, And so, I think I always kind of quoted a lot of movies, too. So I think that's kind of like my thing. Like, I can quote a movie. I can see a movie one time and remember the script really well and just kind of, impersonate the actor in the movie.
Wow.
But I think Disney was definitely my thing, where I would, I watched every Disney movie possible, and then I would try to reenact it, and I would learn all the songs and all the lines and, try to reenact them for anybody who was around me.
Wow. What was it like, I ask this question to people sometimes. What was that first audition like for you? Were you nervous? Were your hands sweating, or did you go into it, were you on the way to the audition thinking, hey, I got this part is mine already?
You know what? I was really nervous. When I was on my way to the audition, I wasn't nervous at all because I was so used to performing in front of everybody that I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I got to the part where I realized that I was actually going for something that a lot of other kids were going for, and I realized all the people that were around me were going for the same thing too, I kind of froze a little bit. And it was definitely really, really nerve-wracking for me. And it was good that I got that experience as a kid because I think you have to learn not to really pay attention to your competition, to kind of be like a thoroughbred and just focus on the prize and focus on what you want and don't worry about what everybody else is doing or if,
Yeah.
Just if you focus on what everybody else is going for, the same part you are, then I think even now, when I've gone into auditions and I'm fully prepared, and then I get there and there's other people who I feel like might, they look a little bit different than me, what if they're the look they're going for, it can definitely bring on that nervousness. But I think it's just about focusing on what you bring to the table and focusing on, how your performance will be, and everything pretty much plays out as it should.
And that's, I think that has a lot to do with, for people like yourself who have been who've been doing it for so long, that professionalism just becomes a natural reaction to you. You know what I mean? Because you know a lot more than just the basics, or that tunnel vision of, hey, I'm going for audition, and, I hope I get it. There's that other side to it that, you know that you might not get everything. You could go on 10 or 12 calls and, hey, 2 might call back. But at the same time, in that profession, it's what you do. So you just keep your calm, and like you say, you go on with what you do from one step to the other, right?
Yeah, I think that's how it goes, because I feel that at the end of the day, I have had to teach myself, it's not about you. Every, producer, director is looking for something specific. They're looking for somebody specific. And at the end of the day, if you don't get it, it's not about you, because, maybe you're not right for this part, but I'll be right for the next one,
Right.
And I think it's about not taking it personal, too, because you want to make sure you're the right fit for the role, because everybody's role in a movie is so important, and it's such a big, a circle all the way around. I totally respect, even when I don't get the role, I always consider my auditions as practice, even if I don't get it.
Yeah, what you just said is a really big deal right there. And, that's something for all the listeners out there, people that are inspiring to be in this field, that, like Jessica just said, always remember that the part really isn't about you personally, so never take anything personally. You know what I mean? People are looking for what they're looking for, so you just never know. But always, still go and do your best regardless. Okay? Now, to talk about, I wanted to bring up Gucci for a minute, as a matter of fact. Not just mine, but I think one of all of our favorite designers. You were in a Gucci commercial.
Yes, I did a Gucci commercial in 2013. It was a James Franco commercial.
Huh.
So it was fun. It was at the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood, which is, this really elegant, vintage hotel where, it's been around for many, many years. But that was a lot of fun. I remember it was December, and, you'd think it would be so cold, but it was like 85 degrees that day.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun. We all got to, mingle with other, actors, and the shoot was kept very small, actually. It was a little bit more personal, which was kind of cool. James just decided to invite all of his friends and people who were close to just be in the commercial with him. So it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
Day.
And situations like that, we're sure you're used to. And, the reason I brought that up is because, like I said, you hear so much about, just the Gucci design. It's worldwide. It's known everywhere. And so a lot of people, again, as I take it back to just a lot of people who would just even love to be in your position, and even those ways. From the little issues like the commercials onto the big screen as well. So we congratulate you on that Gucci shoot, as a matter of fact.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I love Gucci. We got to, it was kind of fun. There was all these Gucci accessories, so we got to, play with the accessories, and it was a sunglasses commercial, so it was fun. It was really, really fun.
Word.
And I'm a huge, I'm a huge designer freak, so, anytime any designer collaborations come up, I'm always super excited and can't sleep the night before, so I'm just so excited about it.
Well, yeah, because I was going to mention that, too, as a matter of fact, because you're doing the film, but, you have these other ventures as well. You seem like you're in the beauty and fashion as well, because you're also the face of a beauty company as well, right?
Yes, I am. It's Porter Fig. It's a bath and beauty company. Everything is all organic, vegan, no animal cruelty, and free. And it's a really, really great company. And I was so happy to be a part to like represent them because, I'm like huge on like skincare and huge on, just really taking care of your body in general. So, I mean, I was really happy to be a part of it. I like love their soaps. I always recommend them to everybody too because they just feel so nice and they make your skin feel great and they smell amazing. And my skin's really sensitive and I can't wear a lot of scented things, but they make a lot of unscented products that I'm able to use. And, they really do have like some amazing things to offer.
Yeah, because I watched the commercial. As a matter of fact, one of the commercials, I'm not sure if it's more than one, but I know I've seen one when you're walking through the woods or the forest, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah, and the whole forest looks like it's really clean and it smells great. You know what I'm saying? Is that a bar soap you're holding in that? Do you know which one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am holding a bar soap.
Okay. So how long have you been the face of them? Is that a new venture or?
Yeah, that's actually pretty new. I've been the face of Porterfig for about a year now. I've done a couple campaigns for them. I know the recent one was their holiday campaign, which was really fun. We got to go to an ice skating rink, which I'm a huge ice skating person, and so I was really excited about that shoot. Oh. And, it was really, really fun. And, they also have, like, some new products, some new, mousse scrubs that are really good for your skin. And, so it was really fun to be trying all the new products. And I know that I have another campaign coming up, too, in about a month and a half or so. So that'll be another fun shoot.
Okay. We'll be looking out for that. Now, we're getting ready to get into the film industry in a second. But you also, look, because you're all over the board here. You've got talents in a lot of different areas, but you dabbled in being a makeup artist for a while too, right?
Yeah, I used to do makeup before I was acting. I did makeup for most of and when I was a teenager, I did a lot of makeup. I mean, even right before I started doing acting full time, I was doing makeup for a long time. So I got to work with different designers as well and other shows and stuff. But yeah, I guess I've always kind of been in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that profession, to you just seems like you have covered a few different angles, as a matter of fact, that have walked you into it. Now, all right, speaking of makeup, all right, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to call you Jenny on this one. All right, your debut, because you made your debut playing the role of Jenny in Heavy Makeup.
I did.
Right. Now, what was that about? It was a thriller, but kind of tell the people what.
Yeah, it was a thriller. It was a thriller. That was probably my debut film that I started getting back into acting again. It's a really great film. It's actually, it's about this girl who, as my character, who kind of gets caught up at being at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's about a couple of kids who are, actors all around, and all this madness starts happening where, all these random friends start dying and they don't really know who it is. And, even in the film, when we were filming that movie, we were only given our script. So none of us knew actually who the killer was. Obviously there's always like that, stunt double playing the killer, but none of us knew while we were filming who the killer was.
Wow. How in the world?
So it really kept us, it was really cool. It was interesting, and, the director always wanted us to be in full emotion, and he wanted us to be confused, and, he wanted us to be full in roles for each part, so even on our night shoots, when we would be shooting really late, and, there was a lot of chasing scenes, he'd make all the actors, go run for a while, so we would actually be so tired.
Oh, okay.
Because it was late. They were 3 o'clock in the morning shoots, and, at 3 o'clock in the morning, a few of us are kind of, tired, and the coffee just isn't doing it. So we'd be like, okay, you're going to go run for a little while. So we'd actually, when we were tired in those scenes, we really, really were tired because we had been running, 5 minutes before.
So he didn't want, right, he didn't want one of those kind of films where, people are running and there's no sweat on their face. They look like they just woke up. and everything like that. He really wanted it to suit the role.
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what? That's cool because that actually worked out to be a bit of a thriller for you guys as well, I'm assuming then.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. It was really interesting, and I think like some of the scenes where, there was some like hardcore fighting, and that was always kind of a little scary because, there's some scenes, where you're getting axes thrown at you and you really are kind of freaked out about it because you really don't want to get hit. So, I mean, those flinching are kind of real flinches.
Yeah, I can imagine, right? Like you say, getting them axes thrown at you because a lot of people don't know that. Like, when you're doing these films and things, to bring that reality to it, these actions are really happening. Do you ever get worried? Do you ever get worried in a situation like that? I know you're not worried. You know the set crews, everybody's going to take care of you, so you're fine. But just that human nature, does it ever just kick in sometimes? You're like, oh, my goodness. Like,
oh, no, it does. It does, especially, like, I think when I'm on set, I fully get into character, and I have to prepare myself normally before I even go on set for any role I like to because I want to mentally be inside in the character's head and, transition into being I'm normally kind of a calm person. So when I have to play such an extensive role where I have to be kind of like, Jenny in heavy makeup was kind of like all these weird things are happening to her. So she was kind of nervous most of the time. Yeah. And she kind of, like I said, got caught at the wrong place at the wrong time multiple times. So I definitely had to prepare myself mentally for that.
Does that get interesting like that, though? Because, some actors do, people don't. But at the same time, I feel like if I was doing that, it would be kind of fun sometimes to just take on that person. You know what I mean? And, just come to work. Like, I know I've got to play this role that I've been playing, but I'm just going to come to work and just, like, already be in character almost. Can that be interesting to do sometimes?
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely is interesting. I've had roles where, I've even had to cry for roles when I feel like, for me, that's probably been a little bit of a challenge, but I've had to mentally, like I said, prepare myself. So when I know that I have to cry for something, I just, like, it's really like a meditation, Yeah,
I used to wonder that, like, how do people really get those tears to start? I've tried it before.
There's different techniques. There's so many techniques, and it honestly just depends on, you personally, because there's some people who can just, who are really good at fake crying, and then, I'm not very good at fake crying. I'm much better at just having real tears.
Yeah.
So, one of my first roles was crying. I kind of made myself depressed for a few days just so I could cry for, like, an audition. And that was, like, the only way to really trigger my brain. But, after a while, I kind of taught myself how to, be able to cry.
Okay, that's good you do that because I imagine people that have to go through that, I imagine them just standing there just, like, squeezing real hard, like, trying to push teardrops out.
Yeah, I had read back in the day that, on set when, actors couldn't cry, they used to cut onions to make people cry. And I was like, I think that would burn your eyes. I don't even think that would make me cry. That would just make my eyes burn, and I would probably start flinching.
Yeah, and then you're definitely going to get a cry out of that one now. You start cutting some onions, everybody's crying for sure.
Yeah, there's all these other techniques that people were telling me about where, like, you put, menthol chapstick on your eyelids, and I was just like, that is painful.
Yeah. Yeah, then you got the red eye. All right, now, noticing, you've got a sense of humor and all of that to go along with it. You are also, in the future or coming up eventually, Hollywood Baby Doll, if you can talk about that, which is a comedy. Is that a bit of a switch of a role for you, or how easy is it for you to take on being in a comedy film?
Yeah, you know what? I was actually really excited about that. I feel like comedies has always been a little bit more of my thing, but, I've always wanted to kind of do a little bit of everything. I've never really wanted to be categorized as in one type of film,
Uh-huh.
which is why I've done, horror, and right now I'm working on a drama film, and then there's also, like, an action. But about the comedy, I've always wanted to do comedy, especially because, like, growing up, my favorite, one of my favorite actors was Jim Carrey, and he was, like, a huge inspiration for me growing up,
Right.
And even growing up watching, I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball was also a huge inspiration. So I feel like that's what kind of triggered me to have, a huge sense of humor and be super dorky way too much. And so when I got this script and I went to audition for it, I was really excited about it, and I was even more excited when I booked the role. Because it's basically about a girl who's, an upcoming actress, and she just kind of can't get her life together, so she's kind of a hot mess, and she realizes, her friends that are around her are not really her friends, and, she figures out the whole Hollywood lifestyle isn't all what it seems to be, but slowly but surely she's starting to get her life together, but things keep happening to her that keep setting her back, and she's just trying to figure out how to keep it all together. Right. So it's definitely like a drama/comedy.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to shoot it.
Okay, and then that'll probably start filming, in 2000, I'm assuming this year?
Yeah, we start filming this year, spring, early summer.
Okay. And let me ask you, what is your dream role? I mean, you've been in different roles. You have a variety, okay? Like you say, horror, comedy's coming up for you. What would be your dream character to play? Do you want to be the bad girl, or do you want to be the boss of the Fortune 500 company, or drive a fast car? What would be your dream role to play?
My dream role, to be honest, I feel like, I think something kind of like a little bit of, I guess, drama and comedy, maybe like a role like, something like Tom Hanks played like in Forrest Gump. Like something like that where it's like drama, but it also has, a little bit of comedy in it, and there's just kind of like a really meaningful, message to it.
Okay.
I've always kind of looked it up to like bigger scripts like, Forrest Gump, Big Fish, I don't know, there's so many, Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts. I guess I've always kind of looked up to those like big, A-list actors because I kind of grew up watching them, and, just a story that really has a message to it because, those are the type of films that I've always connected to, and those are the type of films that inspired me to be an actress and have kept me going because every time, I always try to like, if I always have a hard time, connecting with the character, I always like to look back, and I'll look at, other actors' audition tapes and see how well they did theirs and how they were able to, transition into being a character. Yeah. And I think always just being somebody that might be a challenge for me is also a good thing for me because I like to kind of step out of the box. Like Charlize Theron in Monster, how crazy, like, she became for that film. She did such a great job, and she's so talented. And, I had read about her that that's why she took the role, was because she didn't know if she could transition into that role, or if she could actually, channel that character. But she did it, and she did it so well.
Okay, right. So, so the type of roles that really touch people. I mean, you have those, the roles that you've played, they obviously have not been written easy. So it took mad skills to be able to do it. But at the same time, I can kind of see where you're coming from is, you also want to be able to play the role where people really have to look deep into your eyes as they're watching the film. Like your face basically tells a story. Like people can look at you and understand what you're going through, and you make a point. One of those situations where you can even be standing still, not even really moving your arms and your legs too much, and still be making such a performance at the same time, right?
Yes.
Okay, I understand. Now, action. All right, going on to the action. Now, The Gathering. What is Gathering about?
So The Gathering is about, it's an action thriller. It's about these people who go and they rob a bank.
Oh, wow.
And they rob a bank, and they're trying to figure out where to put the money. So they go, one of the guys who robs the bank with them says, hey, I know somewhere we can stash the money. It's up in a forest. Like, okay, so they go to the forest, and when they get there, there's some martial artists that are there that are filming.
Uh-oh.
So when they go stash the money, the martial artists find out that there's money there. So, both teams are now starting to clash, and they're trying to fight for this money because the robbers are trying to, keep the money stashed and not let anybody, touch it, and they're trying to keep it away from everybody. But now the martial artists know about it, so now there's this huge fight going between, two teams. There's like the good guys and the bad guys.
Okay.
So that's actually my first movie where I'm actually a villain, so I play one of the bad guys.
Oh, okay. So are you getting to do some fighting and some punching and kicking?
Oh, yeah. Being on set, there's a lot of fighting.
Oh, wow. Is that already, can we already watch that somewhere, or is that to come? Or?
There's actually a trailer. There's a trailer on Vimeo and YouTube. You can actually see the trailer on there. The movie is out there. I'm still not done filming. We're supposed to wrap by the end of next month, but the film should be out later this year. It's a really, really great movie. It's really cool, and it's my first movie where it's, I'm able to fight and being on set and, working with different martial artists, and, there's definitely a lot of fighting going on. And, just to prep for that movie, it's funny because I used to do karate as a kid, but as I got older, I kind of forgot everything because I did it at such a young age.
Yeah.
I did. I was probably maybe like 3 or 4 years old and in karate classes, but I don't remember them.
Right.
And so, getting back on set and working with the different, fighters on there who are kind of the choreographers who are teaching us how the fights are going to go, it's really interesting and it's fun because, when you're on set, it does get a little bit scary because you're using, all these fighting moves, but at the same time you're trying not to get hit. So, it kind of works in both ways where those times that I'm flinching and I'm ducking, I really am ducking because I really don't want to get hit.
Yeah, that's what I was actually, I was going to ask you about that, as a matter of fact. I mean, there's these, some of the moves are actually real moves, and you really got to be on point with getting out of the way of those or blocking them.
Oh, yeah, you have to definitely be on point and be aware and, have your full head focused on what's happening in the scene because there's so much, there's so many scenes where, I'm fighting, real martial artists and they're doing these crazy moves and, the choreography is about making sure you're not getting hit and it looks real.
Oh, wow.
So, but when it all comes together, it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, and so that's for everybody out there, listening that watch these films. Like, everything you see is not in slow motion and then sped up when it's actually time to shoot it. They're actually really out there doing these things. This film right here. Now, okay, because I'll tell you, Gathering, I tried to find that trailer. I'm going to go back and look for it again, as a matter of fact, because I looked for it and I couldn't find it. But now you've given me an idea kind of what to look for, and we're going to go find that one. But I tell you what, this one, Jessica, what is going on in Jingo Hopper? Jingo, is it Hooper? Jingo Hooper?
Django Hooper.
What is going on in that? Look, first of all, I'm going to suggest that everybody go, I've got to watch the movie because I almost couldn't watch the trailer. The trailer had me gone. What in the world is going on in that movie?
Yes, Django Hooper, it's a grindhouse movie.
It's scary.
First of all, so it's definitely, it's an out there film. It is. It's really, really crazy and gory and bloody and, it's honestly, it messes with your head a little bit.
Oh, man.
But I think that's the whole vibe of the movie.
Right.
And, in that movie I play, I'm like a drug addict. And so it's kind of like a weird role that stepped on my plate.
Okay.
Where I play this mafia princess, drug addict. So I'm just kind of like trying to protect, one of my family members in the film, and then I get pulled into it, and so it's definitely it's very twisted. It's very twisted. It's very gory, and you have to think of it as it's a very heavy grindhouse movie. And most grindhouse films don't really, make that much sense. There's just so much going on. So it's one of those movies that you really need to pay attention to because there's just so much craziness going on
Well,
you know, and a lot of people who have watched it have been like, okay, yeah, it's a little bit twisted, and it made me feel a little weird after watching the movie. But, I mean, that's good because that's the whole point that, you know, the director, Joe Wheeler, was trying to get at. And, you know, it was a lot of fun filming that movie, too.
Well, you know, you can, sorry, you can definitely look, you know, just even watching the trailer, you can definitely tell that what was going on was intentional. Like, there was no mistaking. I mean, you know, the blood and the gore. And I'm going to suggest to everybody, like Jessica said, you know, watch the film, because I'm glad you gave a bit of the plot as well. Now, let me ask you this. Do you, I almost don't want to ask this. I won't ask this about the sequel. I'll ask you about that in a second, but to not even give away too much about the first one itself, but I just have to know, do you get anything, did you get any, did your eyeball get plucked out, anything in this one? Like, do you get bloody?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you actually made it through this, because I saw some people getting messed up.
Yeah, somehow I made it out. We'll say that much.
All right. And we can expect the sequel, part 2, is coming up too, right?
Yeah, we actually filmed the sequel at the end of this year, which is really awesome and great. And, you know, there's so much more cast in it, and, you know, there's so much more craziness going on. And, you know, my character comes back, and, you know, she kind of comes back with a vengeance. So there's a little bit more anger in the sequel, and there's just a lot of craziness going on. You know, I don't want to give out too much information, but, you know, I'm really excited for everybody to see the first one. You know, we went to the RIP Horn Film Festival last year in November, and we got really good feedback. And, you know, I know this year it's going to Miami Film Festival, and there's actually going to be another film festival in London. It was really great. It was my first UK film, so it was really great to collaborate with Joe Wheeler, who's such an amazing director. And, you know, actually, I just got casted for another film to work with him, and it's actually my first lead. It's called Hypnophile. So,
okay, you're going in for the lead now. All right.
So it's definitely my first lead role, and that one's going to be a little bit more different from what I'm used to, and it's not really, I guess it would be a little bit gory, but I think it's a psychological thriller. So.
Okay, because it's, you know, like I say, Django Hooper, I'm glad you didn't tell too much, because I definitely want to watch that. You know, by the end of me watching the trailer, I just paused for a second. I'm like, okay. You know, because I'm going to tell you, it took me back to when horror movies were different. I mean, you really saw things in there that just made you go, oh, my God, I can't believe that just happened. You know, just even from the mask, and I'm not going to give away too much either, but just even from the mask and things like that that somebody was wearing in that was amazing. Now, you were in a production written by James Bosby called Fun, where you played Hillary. Was that one of your favorite roles to actually play?
Yeah, no, Fun was a really, really great production. I'm not used to doing too many plays, but it was definitely something that was different for me, and it was a really great, you know, project to work on, and, you know, we got really great feedback, and, you know, it was a little different from what I'm used to, because I think I did a little bit more theater as a child, so when I got back into it, it was a little bit more, you know, you're on a stage and there's so many people, just live audience there, but you're not really, I mean, it's so different from what I'm doing now. It's a whole different world, you know, doing theater to doing film. But, yeah, it was great. It was fun. I mean, I think it's definitely a different atmosphere, but at the same time, it gives you, like, that adrenaline rush, like, on hand.
Right. Well, you already, now, you had already been doing, you had already became an actress, so you were already doing film before doing Fun, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I grew up doing, you know, I did more, I guess, more shows and a little bit more commercials as a child, you know, younger.
Right.
But, yeah,
I guess
it was a little bit, like I said.
And I guess the reason why I asked that question was just the transition. I mean, I'm sure there's some differences your performance has to obviously be top quality regardless. But there has to be obviously some differences, some things that just kind of change, just kind of change the angle from being on screen. Like, okay, in a play, for instance, you don't get takes over, right? So does that tend to be a little more difficult? Because, I mean, you guys practice till you get it right. When it's time for the performance, you go out, you know what you have to do. Is it that in a play, is it ever that fear, which I'm sure it is, but so a professional in it like yourself, is it ever that fear that, hey, when we're doing this play and something goes wrong, we don't get to say cut and take this back? Like, you're just trying to continue on and go to your next move or your next line or whatever, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like that. You just keep going, and that's when what the difference is like being on stage is that you're just so high on the energy of the stage and the audience, and you just kind of go out there and give it your all. And if you do mess up, you just kind of improvise and you keep going, and everybody kind of picks up off of each other's energy and vibes. And usually they're really good about like saving you if for some reason you kind of miss a line or something. But it's I think that's why the theater is so different, because you don't get those takes. You just go out there and you give it your all, and then hope everything works out for the best, which it usually does. It always does, and it's a different type of adrenaline rush, I would say.
Right. Now, what's been the most interesting or the best part about this journey that you've been on? I know like you say, this has been your goal, this has been your angle since a child. You're well on it. You're well on your way. You've been doing a lot of projects, different things. What's been the best journey about all of this to you so far, Jessica?
I think just being able to, meet so many different people and, be able to learn from everybody else and learn from other actors and writers and directors. And, you always meet somebody new, and you always learn something from them. And there's always different advice that they'll give you, and things that maybe you're going through that you can learn from them that they've already been through. Because sometimes you're on this road and, you're trying to reach a goal, and sometimes it feels like, it's just not going how you want to go. But, there's a different path for everybody, and there's a different road for everybody. So I think it's about just kind of learning as you go, thinking positive, being positive, and know that, your destiny is meant to happen, and it is meant to be somewhere. And, not letting the role that you really wanted that you don't get, not get to you that much, because, there is that one role that's for you, or there is multiple roles that are for you, and you got to just kind of keep going. And, I think that's what being an actor really does build up your strength, because you learn, you hear a lot of no's, and you do hear yeses, but you do hear a lot of no's. But, sometimes it's just that one yes that you need, and you got to just keep going till you get what you want.
Right. And, and I tell you, for a lot of those out there that are not, for a lot of people out there listening, just like she said, just stay focused, because first of all, you have to consider yourself blessed when you, look, nowadays, I guess you got to consider yourself blessed when you can even get a role. You know what I mean? More or less the kind of role that you want. For people, like yourself, Jessica, or for those out there, for people that's in her position, obviously you've done this for a while, so, people know your credentials. They know you're good at your work. But for some who might be just, getting into the game, you have to understand to be willing to go out and give your all. It might not be your dream role at first that you want or that you think, but, be happy and be blessed with what you do have, and just, bring your best and bring your all to the table at that particular time. Now, I know in any profession, I do it or have done it sometimes, and obviously you got up and you continued on. You never stopped. But just being human, are there ever those days where you just like, oh, I'm tired? You throw your cup down, you're just like, I can't take this no more. And you just felt like that for a few hours. Has that ever happened to you?
I think when I was younger that did. Yeah. I think that it's taken a lot for me to have the mentality that I have right now, to be honest, because I think being an actor is so hard, and, you know, a lot of people, they don't see that there's so much hard work that goes behind the scenes because, you know, we're obviously not going to share every role we didn't get. You know, you only hear about the work we did.
Right.
So there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of rejection involved, and there's a lot of disappointment involved as well, and, you know, it definitely can kick your ego down when you don't get what you wanted, or you think you did really amazing, but you don't get the part, or you don't get a call back. You know, it does definitely take a shot at your ego, but, you know, I think, like I said, it's taken a lot to get my mentality where it is right now. I mean, if there ever is a moment that I do feel a little sad that I didn't get a role, I try to always keep multiple projects on hand, and I'm always trying to just shoot for something different, so I don't get focused on what I didn't get. I'm always I'm focusing on what I'm going to, you know, try for next time or do different, you know, and like I said in the beginning, you know, refrain back to, you know, where I tell myself it's not about you, you know, you're not getting this role, you didn't do anything wrong, they're just looking for something specific. You know, it could be the smallest thing, like maybe they wanted somebody taller, maybe they wanted somebody, you know, I don't know, with shorter hair. It could be the littlest, smallest thing, you know, but I guess, you know, keeping myself healthy and working out and running and, you know, meditating and do all of that, that is definitely like a part of my lifestyle, and I have to keep the lifestyle I have just to be able to have the mentality that I have, because being an actor is so hard. You know, and like I said, and a lot of people don't see that, and I totally get when other people struggle, you know, because it's a lot of work. And a lot of people don't see, you know, what goes behind the scenes. They just see when, you know, someone has just made a movie, or they've just, they've just made something big. They don't know all the hard work that an actor has to go through to get there. There's so many actors that struggle for like many, many years. I know like Steve Carell, he struggled for like 10 to 12 years before he got on the show The Office. You know, there's a lot, and nobody knows that.
Yeah. You know what? And that's very true. That's another good point. I'm glad you said that. You know, for those out there listening, take what she's saying is good advice. This is not, you have those people. You watch these different shows and you just kind of see people as they're in the moment already. A lot of people don't realize what people have to go through, or how long it took them to get there to be able to get to that goal. So definitely understand that it's a lot of hard work, a lot of thought process, a lot of skill that goes into this, and sometimes even bad days that you just have to be able to bounce back from and continue on. When you're a professional. So wonderful, wonderful advice. Before we get out of here, Jessica, I want to thank you for coming on and being on the show today. First of all, let me say that. And kudos on all your success. I don't see in the future where there's any slowing down for you anytime soon. I mean, you're a big duty situation going on. Everybody out there, make sure you go see Gathering when it comes out. I know that's going to be an amazing film. I can't wait to see you kicking some butt in there as well. And Hollywood Baby Doll also. And am I pronouncing that right when I say Django Hooper?
Yes, it's Django Hooper.
Okay, yeah. Everybody go see that. Please go get a good scare. Go look it up. Where is the first one? Can they find that one on like Netflix, or do they have to go look up the DVD or?
Heavy Makeup?
No, Django Hooper.
Django Hooper will actually be released this year in theaters, so it'll actually have its debut later on this year, probably around like Halloween, I think they said. So it'll actually have its theatrical debut.
Okay. And what about Heavy Makeup?
Heavy Makeup should be on Netflix soon, I believe. So I don't really have the exact date, but it should be out soon.
Okay. And now what about, do you have any social media handles where people can go check you out and just kind of keep up with what's going on? And
Yes. You can find me on Twitter, just at Jessica Velle, or also on Instagram at Jessica Velle. I have a Facebook page that you can look up. That's under Jessica Velle as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Look, Jessica, again, we thank you so much for coming on. And look, I'm going to go ahead and give you
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and give you an early invite now to return to the show later on in the future, later on this year. or whenever. You know, you're welcome to come back anytime as well. But
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely I'll be having you come back and let us know about some of the other projects and how they are turning out. Everybody out there all across the world, this is the wonderful actress, face of Porter Fig Beauty, and so many other things, Jessica Velle. Jessica, you have a lovely evening, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.